This movie is sexy as hell. It is so funny. It's sexy without actually having a whole lot of sex in it. It's more like it's just erotic and flirtatious and just hot.
Luca Guadagnino's Challengers is finally hitting theaters. We were promised it last fall, and then the strikes and but anyway, it's coming out April 26th, but we've seen it and the embargo's lifted and we couldn't wait to talk about it. So go with it.
We really couldn't wait to talk about it. I was looking forward to it anyway because I'm a huge fan of his films. I love I Am Love. I love Call Me By Your Name. I came to love his Suspiria remake. And A Bigger Splash is great and sexy and funny. So he's just really on a roll. But there was so much hype heading into this that I was really excited to see it, and it did not disappoint. If you've not subscribed to our channel here at Breakfast All Day, movies like Challengers are precisely why you should be here with us, because this is the kind of thing we will always do. Any kind of buzzed about high expectation art house movie, we will have that for you. So come hang out with us. There's a button down below. I'm not going to say smash it. Don't smash that subscribe button, but it would be appropriate to do that in a tennis movie. Right. Just a little volley. Will get it over the net. All the tennis cliches are here. Come here.
Which one of us?
So we're not going to spoil. A lot of things happen in this movie. It is over 2 hours long, but it zips by. It is action-packed. But I will say this much. It is about the relationship between three people in the elite tennis world. Zendaya plays Tashi. She was a tennis phenom as a teenager and had this great future ahead of her. And then this terrible injury sidelines her. And then it's about the other two guys in her life as well. They are played by Mike Faist, who is Art. He ends up being this Grand Slam champion. And then Josh O'Connor, who is Patrick, who was Art's doubles partner as juniors at the US Open. They were champions. They've been friends for a long, long time. But he is now sort of down in his luck and looking for redemption. Everyone here is looking for redemption when they all end up in the same place, which is this very low stakes challenger tournament in New Rochelle, New York. And so that is where we begin with this. But the way the script is structured from Justin Kuritzkes is it keeps flashing back to key moments in that relationship between all three of them, how they met, the initial flirtation and attraction, how she ends up with each of them at various points in time. And there's so much meaning in every single flashback that catches you up to where we are. I said this in our little out of the theater reaction, but I realized about halfway through, it's kind of structured like Dunkirk, because all the threads like meet up in the present day eventually, and things that maybe you didn't realize were going to be important do as we all catch up, and then there we are, and it all becomes this explosive climactic ending. This movie is sexy as hell. It is so funny. It's sexy without actually having a whole lot of sex in it. It's more like it's just erotic and flirtatious and just hot.
Yeah, I mean, like when they first watch her play tennis, they are aroused by that because of the way that she plays, and so much of how these three characters understand each other, understand themselves, is directly tied to how they play tennis. I mean, that is just their window to the world here. So yeah, and Luca Guadagnino's gaze, G-A-Z-E, is so open to everything. So the guys are hot, and Zendaya is wearing a lot of very short tennis skirts, and you know, like there's a palpable eroticism to this film, even though there's not a lot of actual sex happening. And he's not afraid of that, which I think, you know, you always hear about like how you know the kids today, they don't understand sex in the movies, and a lot of things think it shouldn't even be there, and they've been seeing too many like superhero movies where like everybody's wearing these form-fitting outfits but no one's taking them off. Like this movie like encompasses the idea of sexuality, but it's smart, it's grown up in terms of these just very complicated character dynamics and the interactions between them, and it's thrillingly put together. I mean, the editing is so exciting. The sports footage, I mean, I'm not a tennis player, so I'm not going to tell you whether or not they get that right, but as a cinematic experience, it is exhilarating. The three performances are dynamite. This is one of the rare movies in which a love triangle, all three of the sides are equally important. Like the two guys have things happening between them, spoken or unspoken, that really kind of color all of this. Yeah, I fucking love this movie.
Yeah, I did too. And I agree with you that it is totally thrillingly shot and edited. It is his usual cinematographer who shoots all of his films. But then there are moments where, like, just to hammer home how intertwined these guys are. Like when they're playing each other, one guy will start the ground stroke and the other guy will finish it. Like that's how quickly it's edited and how smoothly, and also in the tiniest ways, but also in just how the timeline of this film exists. Like it never feels bogged down. It's always propulsive. All the flashbacks bring it forward thrillingly.
Tell you a thing you needed to know that you didn't know already.
Yeah, it's never confusing. It's never a drag. It's always exciting. I will say there are a couple of little camera choices that maybe felt too overdone given how thrillingly paced this is and how exciting it is. And the Trent Reznor Atticus Ross score is like a techno dance party fun, which makes it extra exciting and sexy. There's a couple little camera things, which, to borrow a phrase from you, are a hat on a hat for me. a couple, like it gives a meaning to the phrase "be the ball."
Yeah, for sure. And I think by that point, I was so in the movie's palm that I just went with it. You know, were they a little de trop? Sure, but like I just by that point, I was on board enough to just let it happen. This is Kuritzkes' first screenplay. He's a playwright. He's married to Celine Song, which means that if this movie had actually come out last fall, when it was supposed to, they would have been battling it out at the Oscars, which is an interesting thing. But the structure is so great, and just like not just the flashbacks, but how certain lines of dialogue or certain incidents will be repeated in different contexts from different characters.
I want you to be my coach. I want you to be my coach.
And it's sort of like how, you know, in tennis at some point you have to change sides of the court, you know, or like how the scores are you know, even if you're losing, you're still listed first, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, I think this movie is it is propulsive, but it's also, you know, a deeply felt character study.
Totally.
It's all the things.
She is so great in this.
This is an amazing
what a role
performance.
she's on. Yeah, I mean, it's such a much more grown up role than anything she's ever done before. Only part of that's because she's a mom in this, but like she's so mature and so in command, and what she wants is so different from what the guys want, right? They're lusting after her. They want to love her and they want her to love them back. And that's not actually what interests her at all in either of them. I mean, there's a passionate kind of carnal element to it, but it's all a means of control. It's all a means of like, who is going to win? Who is going to help me win? And that it's so calculated, but you don't hate her for it because she's so fascinatingly complicated. It's just one element of her prowess.
Yeah, no, somebody after me was like, oh, well, I guess that's the villain of the year. And I'm like, I don't think she is, though, because I think she is exactly what they need. They are what she is looking for. Like, they all have flaws, but their luggage matches, you know, as they say. So yeah, no, it is so complex what's going on here with all of that, and you know, the fact that the actual tennis play, especially by the end of the film, conveys so much of things they can't articulate when they're not on the court, you know, that speaks to things. I mean, like the whole final sequence is wordless and yet culminates everything and brings everything together. This movie starts even in a bold way. It's an MGM movie. Doesn't start with the lion, starts on the court, and then we get the logo, which I don't think I've ever seen in an MGM movie in the history of that studio.
It's disorienting, and intentionally so, right?
Yeah.
It puts you in the mind space of, oh, this is going to be different. And you got to hang on because it's going to just carry you away.
And it is different. That's what's so exciting.
Yeah. So which number?
It's a 10.
Okay.
I haven't given one in a while, but this is a 10. I wouldn't change a frame of this thing.
Okay, I'm going to say 9.9. I love this movie so much. It's just because like those couple of little camera choices took me out for a sec. I found them a little distracting and a little needless. And I'm somebody who has been a long time sucker for style over substance. And that for me was like a little a bitty bit too much, but I'm like so close, almost there with you.
Gotcha.
This will definitely be on my top 10 list at the end of the year.
Yeah. If I see 10 movies better than this, 2024 is going to be a hell of a year.
Yep. Challengers, April 26th. Go see it.